Imagine two identical subdivisions side by side. A storm hits. One is completely submerged in water, while the neighborhood directly across the street stays perfectly dry. The answer to why that happens is entirely geographic. Spatial thinking is the ability to look at a problem and recognize that physical location is the primary reason things happen, rather than treating geography as just another background data point. GriidAi Academy built their Spatial Thinking for the AI Era course to teach exactly that. It is a highly structured curriculum, 6 modules, 50 distinct segments, and roughly 4.5 hours of total content, and it is completely free to start. We need to be absolutely clear about what this curriculum leaves out. You will never open any specific mapping platform. You will not write a single line of Python or R. There are 0 programming prerequisites. By stripping away the software, the course demands a specific investment. It forces you to decide if spending 4.5 hours mastering abstract logic and human judgment is more valuable to your career than learning exactly which buttons to click in a software application. That decision is pressing because of what is happening in the industry right now. Artificial intelligence is rapidly automating standard mapping processes and the technical execution of software commands. You face a direct dilemma. Do you double down on memorizing specific mapping software features, or do you pivot away from the interface to learn the underlying spatial logic that governs how those tools actually work? This matrix, the value shift, contrasts legacy expectations with automated realities. The traditional value column highlights software proficiency and manual map generation, predictable tasks vulnerable to AI. The AI era value column focuses on tasks machines struggle with: problem decomposition, data validation, and workflow architecture. This brings us to the core trade-off of GriidAi Academy. You have to commit 4.5 hours to mastering software-agnostic logic, and you must accept that you will finish the course with 0 immediate technical deliverables for your portfolio. This flowchart maps the overarching learning journey, starting with the first 2 highlighted nodes: Ask and Data. Module 1 trains you on the necessary input. You learn to dissect a complex real-world issue into clear, solvable spatial questions. Module 2 focuses on the outcome of those questions. It gives you the skills to critically evaluate whether a set of spatial data is trustworthy before you ever attempt to import it into your software. The trade-off for focusing heavily on foundational logic is practical application. While you build elite analytical judgment, you still carry the burden of independently learning the specific software needed to actually process your clean data. But putting in that foundational work protects you from the most expensive trap in the industry: executing flawed data flawlessly in very expensive software. Moving to the middle nodes of this flowchart, the focus shifts entirely toward methodology and output review. Module 3 presents spatial analysis strictly as a logical framework. You learn how to actively choose the correct analytical approach based on the problem. Module 4 drills down into cartographic judgment. This is the essential habit of scrutinizing outputs to detect when maps are lying to you or presenting misleading conclusions. Applying this methodology forces you to slow down. Unlearning the habit of blindly trusting default software results means your early workflows will actually take longer to complete. Slowing down for cartographic judgment is a feature, not a bug. It's your only reliable defense against AI-generated hallucinations creeping into your spatial data. Looking at the final nodes of this flowchart, the course applies your new foundational logic to modern, automated environments. Module 5 is entirely about Geo-AI literacy. You learn how to effectively direct and manage artificial intelligence tools to support your spatial workflows. Module 6 caps off the curriculum by teaching you to design reusable spatial systems. You learn to build architectural workflows that remain functional long after any single software update rolls out. Keep in mind, these final modules are highly conceptual. Their utility relies completely on your own ability to map these abstract frameworks onto the specific technology stack used at your workplace. If you can apply them, mastering workflow design elevates you. You transition from a replaceable task executor into an indispensable system architect. While the 4.5 hours of content is identical, the actual return on investment depends entirely on where you are starting from. This scorecard table breaks down the course's value based on your career stage, beginning with students. Choosing this course over a standard coding tutorial gives you the precise vocabulary needed to speak intelligently about spatial logic during job interviews. The trade-off is certification. Let's shift our focus to career changers, particularly those transitioning from data science or engineering. The course bridges the geographic gap. It gives you the necessary context to apply your existing technical skills to spatial data without having to start from scratch. There is a catch. If your background is already highly analytical, the initial problem decomposition in Module 1 may feel slow. But adopting that specific spatial context is a mandatory step. For newcomers and industry outsiders, the course operates as a conceptual translator. It converts your general data knowledge into specialized, hireable spatial value. Returning to our scorecard, let's look at professionals already working within the spatial industry. For early career professionals, stepping back from daily software tasks to learn problem decomposition turns a basic mapmaker into an analyst who knows exactly why a specific method works. The trade-off is friction. You will have to actively advocate for these analytical frameworks in a workplace that likely prioritizes fast, thoughtless map generation over careful logic. Finally, we evaluate experienced professionals with 5 to 20+ years in the field. For veterans, the course provides total clarity on how AI impacts the field, giving you the blueprint to pivot from a legacy technician into a high-level workflow designer. The uncomfortable trade-off here is acceptance. You have to acknowledge the depreciation of your legacy technical skills and willingly step into management and design thinking. On the logistics side, Module 1 is completely free to access right now, while Modules 2 through 6 require a free waitlist sign-up. The financial barrier to entry is zero. If you are looking to secure your position in an automated industry, GriidAi Academy is the definitive starting point. It requires you to prioritize logic over software, but it teaches you the spatial judgment that AI simply cannot replicate. To prioritize spatial logic, it's important to understand the cost of ignoring it. In the next video, we find out how simply asking where instead of who stopped an epidemic.